We've all heard the saying, love yourself, but what happens when someone takes it to the extreme? One man found out the hard way when he fell head over heels in love with himself. He became obsessed with his appearance. Once he fell in love with himself, he became fixated on his physical appearance. He would spend hours grooming himself, taking countless selfies, and admiring his reflection in any mirror he passed by. He even went as far as to get plastic surgery to perfect his already chiseled features. He became incredibly self-centered. As one would expect, his love for himself made him incredibly self-centered. He cared only about himself and his own needs, ignoring the wants and needs of those around him. He would interrupt conversations to talk about himself, never showed any interest in anyone else's life, and expected constant admiration and attention. He became isolated. His narcissistic behavior drove away friends and family. He was so consumed with his own greatness that he didn't need anyone else around. He would spend his days alone, staring at himself in the mirror, and talking to himself. He was his own best friend and couldn't see the damage he was doing to his relationships. He hit rock bottom. Eventually, his obsession with himself became too much. He lost his job because he couldn't work with others, his romantic relationships were non-existent because he was only interested in himself, and his family and friends had all but given up on him. He hit rock bottom and realized that his love for himself had caused him to lose everything he once held dear. He sought help. After hitting rock bottom, he realized that he needed help. He sought therapy to address his narcissism and began to learn how to be a more empathetic and caring person. He worked on rebuilding his relationships with those he had pushed away and started to see the value in others. He learned to appreciate others. Through therapy, he learned to appreciate the people in his life and their contributions. He realized that his love for himself had blinded him to the value and beauty of others. He started to show gratitude and recognize the good in people, which helped him build stronger and more meaningful relationships. He found new hobbies and interests. Once he started to shift his focus away from himself, he found new hobbies and interests that brought him joy and fulfillment. He started to volunteer and give back to his community, which helped him feel connected and purposeful. He learned humility. Through therapy, he learned that he was not the center of the universe and that everyone has flaws and weaknesses. He learned humility and began to see himself as just one small piece in the larger puzzle of life. This helped him become more empathetic and understanding of others. He developed self-awareness. By recognizing and addressing his narcissistic tendencies, he developed a level of self-awareness that allowed him to see himself more clearly. He learned to identify his triggers and take steps to avoid falling back into old patterns of behavior. He found true self-love. After all was said and done, he found true self-love, not the shallow, superficial love he once had for himself. He learned to appreciate and accept himself for who he was, flaws and all. He found peace within himself and was able to build healthy relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. He learned the importance of boundaries. As he worked on rebuilding his relationships, he learned the importance of setting boundaries. He realized that he couldn't expect others to cater to his every need and desire and started to respect their boundaries as well. This helped him build healthier and more fulfilling relationships. He let go of his need for perfection. His obsession with his appearance was rooted in his desire for perfection, but he learned that perfection is impossible to achieve. He let go of this need and started to accept himself and others for who they were, flaws and all. This helped him become more relaxed and less judgmental. He became more open-minded. As he started to appreciate and accept others, he became more open-minded. He was no longer confined to his own narrow perspective and started to see the world in a more nuanced and complex way. This helped him become more compassionate and understanding. He found inner peace. Through his journey, he found inner peace. He was no longer consumed by his obsession with himself and learned to find joy and fulfillment in the people and experiences around him. He was content with who he was and what he had, and this brought him a level of happiness he had never experienced before. He inspired others. Through his transformation, he inspired others to examine their own behaviors and work on becoming better versions of themselves. He showed that it's never too late to make a change and that self-improvement is an ongoing process. He became a beacon of hope for those struggling with similar issues. He learned the value of self-reflection. In his journey towards self-improvement, he learned the value of self-reflection. He started to look back on his past behaviors and examine what led him to become so obsessed with himself. By doing so, he was able to identify the root causes of his issues and take steps to address them. He became more resilient. Going through such a transformative process requires a level of resilience, and he certainly developed it. He learned to face his problems head-on and not give up when things got tough. He became more confident in himself and his ability to overcome obstacles. He learned to forgive himself. In the process of self-reflection, he also learned to forgive himself for his past mistakes. He realized that everyone makes mistakes and that it's not productive to beat yourself up over them. By forgiving himself, he was able to let go of his past and move forward with a clean slate. He found a sense of purpose. Through volunteering and giving back to his community, he found a sense of purpose. He realized that he could make a positive impact on the world around him and that his life had meaning beyond just himself. This helped him feel fulfilled and motivated to continue his self-improvement journey. He developed a sense of gratitude. Finally, he developed a deep sense of gratitude. He realized how much he had taken for granted in the past and started to appreciate the people and experiences in his life. This helped him find happiness in the simple things and live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. The journey towards self-improvement is a long and winding one, but it's worth it. By seeking help, developing self-awareness, and learning to appreciate and respect others, you can find true self-love and inner peace. Remember to be patient with yourself and to celebrate your successes along the way. Ultimately, the goal is not perfection but rather growth and personal fulfillment.